Hello and welcome to today's webinar, E-Invoicing Made Simple for AP, the 3 steps you need to do to comply with Germany's new regulations. My name is Rami Deeb and I'm your moderator today, and I'm very excited to be kicking off today's webinar. First thing, our webinar kicks off with a very insightful conversation. Our agenda is filled with a lot of insights about e-invoicing. We're going to first start with an overview of what you need to know about e-invoicing, and then we're going to show you what exactly you need to be doing starting from today. And we're going to be deep diving into the 3 steps that you as a company dealing with Germany or based in Germany can do to comply with the upcoming regulations. And as always, we will have a section for a Q&A. So please make sure to leave your comments wherever you're watching us, and we'll be answering your questions at the end. And of course, there will be some key takeaways that you'll be able to use. And now, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to today's speakers. I'm very excited to be introducing our co-founder and CEO, Thomas Gogar, to the stage. Richard Luthard, board member at the Zugferd and X-Rechnung, and Joris Jutman, partner at KPMG Netherlands. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar.
Hello.
Thanks for having us. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Thank you.
Great to have you with us. And now a very quick overview on e-invoicing for whoever is watching and has no idea what exactly e-invoicing is and why they're being put in place. So for a bit of context, the e-invoicing regulation came in place after a recent report that came out from the European Commission, specifically called the VAT Gap Report back in 2022. And it was estimated that there were around 93 billion euros that were lost revenue. And almost a quarter of that amount has been attributed directly to VAT fraud. So there is a clear incentive into structuring and standardizing and modernizing the whole VAT system, intra-EU trade specifically. And this is where exactly the VIDA, or what it's called, VAT in the digital age, came in. It's a rebranding or repackaging of the VAT policy, which involves the digital reporting requirements, the platform economy, and the single place of registration. Now, the digital reporting requirements is essentially regularly and occasionally having to report using a structured format to the authorities. Who they concern specifically, if you are a German-based company or dealing with a German company, this concerns you, as well as Germany-based freelancers who are dealing on a solo basis. They're also impacted. Now I'm going to open up the floor for the broader discussions where our experts are going to share their insights. What can businesses do? Let's imagine now is January 1st, 2025. What can you do to prepare? Maybe hand things over to Richard, kind of walk us through the broader context, the reasoning and everything.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much, Rami, and for the introduction. Yes, for sure. The most important message I have to give to this audience is it is coming soon. This is only 4 months to go. And what is important to do it? The first thing, the mandatory introduction of the e-invoicing will start. It begins in January, and there's no doubt, there is no transition, there is no change for this period. In some months, it will start. And what's also important is the first thing, the world today and the beginning of January 25 in this e-invoicing world will be different in Germany. Because the e-invoicing, what we now understand about e-invoicing and the invoice is completely different. From January, it will be changed a lot. The e-invoicing now, the real e-invoice will be only e-invoicing compliant with the European norm 6931. And I will give you some information about this also. And the second most important thing is in the rest of the world is other invoices. And other invoices, e-invoices, they are not compliant with European norm 69931, BDF, especially also, and for sure paper. And this is important to understand. From January of 25, existing only if the government or the people speak about e-invoicing, they mean e-invoicing compliant European norm 6931. This is the main message, and you have to check it. and then it starts in January, and it starts there are two main phases in that. The first phase is the e-invoicing itself. This means it starts in January, and you have to receive. If someone sends you the e-invoice compliant with the European norm 6931, you have to accept it. You have no choice. The second phase will be, it starts in 28. It will be the reporting to the government with the tax data. That's the two main phases. And for the first phase, the e-invoicing, there is some transition period. I told you the first thing will be in the beginning of January. You have to receive it if it's compliant with the European norm. And then it starts in step by step from the center you have to send the e-invoices. And there are some transitions inside, but we can discuss also later, it makes sense or not. But there is the first period is you can send up to end of 27 paper invoices. You can do it. And if you send e-invoices, the receiver you have to get the agreement from the receiver. That's important. And there is, for small companies, it's end of 27, for bigger companies 26. That's the main thing. But for sure, you have to start now, and this balancing 80,000 euro turnover makes, from my point of view, no sense. So that's the timetable, January 25 to end of 27, beginning of January 28. And if you are reached the 28, then you have to transfer the tax data to the government. And this will be organized by platforms and so on. And you have to also care about that you are able to do this. That's the main information of these things. And there is also, Rami put on the slide, the EDI procedures, and they can continue up to end of 27. That's for sure, and they don't have to change it. But they can continue also longer, because also the government is not interested to destroy the e-invoicing market for EDI. For over 30 years, they do this successfully in the market. It's no interest of the government to destroy it. So also they can continue in 28. There are two conditions. The first condition, the receiver has to accept the invoice, but it's nothing new to the situation today. And the second one, you have to transfer the tax data compliant to the European norm 6931 to the government. These are the two main obstacles, we can say, but I think manageable for the businesses.
Allow me to. I'm very excited to hear that, like, this is more of a calming message to the market, to the companies. So there's not a huge thing. There's plenty of time. But I'm interested to hear of yours' perspective, given that your role at KPMG, obviously you have long expertise in managing these transformation projects and navigating these compliance space. So I'm interested to hear more on this transitional phase from now. Are you listening from customers? Are you hearing more about how they're dealing with this? Very interested to hear about this.
Well, I've been in this business now for more than a decade, and especially now the last year, January 1st is around the corner. So especially the large companies have already started to look at this earlier this year. Especially now in Germany, everybody is going to be affected by this new legislation. What we generally see is that a lot of the companies are reviewing their invoice automation setup, and a large part of my work is currently with our relations to replace the invoicing automation setup that they installed, let's say 8 to 10 years ago, and upgrade them with the new capabilities that service providers like Rossum are providing into the market. More away from pure OCR setups, but more Gen AI driven or AI driven type of software setups that help companies to automate and come with a higher automation rates than was possible before. So there was already this trend to review because of the new technologies that became available over the last year and a half. And now we are actually pushed into even more replacements now because of the new legislation. And Germany is now starting in January 1st. Obviously, there were already a number of countries that were switching to the new legislation earlier. And the rest of Europe will follow soon thereafter. I expect ultimately in 2030, all European countries will be on this new legislation. It all depends a little bit on how much blocking there will be. Currently, Estonia has been blocking to make this European-wide. But I expect individual countries to basically precede the new European legislation. And so for the German companies that are part of a conglomerate that is international, so that also trade outside, I would also expect those to switch to new technologies soon before the 2030 mark in that respect.
And Joris, only one comment about this. Yes, you are right. But if we see that also Germany, especially Germany, is very close to the European proposal of the Vita, and this means if we do this, also France will be close to this European proposal. So it will be also pressure from national the national parts countries to the European environment. That's good, I think so, because also because Germany did this European norm in 100%. And that's
I agree. Yeah, so I agree. I think later this year it's on the agenda again. And the last two times Estonia blocked it, and maybe this time they will decide to go ahead, and then you have the standard is going to be European rather than only for Germany. The other thing
that I want to, from my point of view, it's only postponed.
It is true. It will be there somewhere down the line. And but the nice thing about this point in time is that new technology makes it also a very interesting business proposition to review and to install new technology when it comes to invoice automation. I think as a rule of thumb, we basically say, okay, if you're a company or a conglomerate of companies that send more or receive more than 40,000 invoices per annum, you will earn the investment back. The return on investment will be less than a year to switch to new technology rather than continue with old technology that is being refurbished in order to comply with the new legislation. So I would recommend to listeners into this call to not only follow your current service provider and say, okay, also our software is going to be compliant as of January 1st, but also take this moment in time to review if the technology that you've been using for the last decade is still up to scratch and is really the same software that is going to be helping you going forward. Because I've been helping a lot of relations basically switch from one to another and switch to companies that provide Gen AI supported invoice automation rather than the old way of doing things.
Tremendous. And speaking of technology, I just want to hear Thomas's perspective specifically. We launched today a bespoke e-invoicing Germany plugin to the market. Now, this is a first step, obviously, as we continue to expand. But I just want to hear your thoughts on, from a technology provider perspective, how realistic is it for technology providers to kind of enable these companies in this transitional phase?
Let me just quickly comment on what we see on the screen. and it was also visible from Richard's and yours conversation that every country in Europe has taken its own path on this e-invoicing journey, and that creates complications for international businesses, right? Because you need to be suddenly complying with, not suddenly and not now, but in the following years, you will need to comply with a lot of different legislations. And that's up to us as technology vendors to provide services to comply with that. It's our job to make their life easier. I honestly believe that German path is a very promising one, because we've seen lately many, quite a few countries in Europe postponing this because it's a huge infrastructural change, right? And very often it comes with an introduction of an exchange protocol and with the e-invoicing format. But I do believe, and Richard was part of the negotiations with the government, so thumbs up on that. I think that the German path is very realistic, because you cannot change infrastructure overnight. So the thing what they are doing, like not introducing new exchange protocol, but just saying, hey, first stage, you need to be able to receive it. And then year by year, in making it mandatory to start sending it without just by introducing the e-invoicing format is the right way to go, because it's a step-by-step process. And I do believe that it will allow Germany to succeed in this environment, because infrastructural changes don't happen overnight. There are very few countries that manage to do that, but it's extremely hard. So what will happen in the following years is we will definitely see a couple of other postponings. There will be few countries that will postpone it. There will be some countries that take this step-by-step approach. There will be countries that take this big bang approach. And EU as an international business needs to be covered. You need to have a strong partner that can support you on this journey. It shouldn't be a headache for you. So, and that was probably to Joris' point, like it's a huge opportunity for us as a software vendors and service providers to really make this journey as easy as possible for our clients.
Tremendous. Now, moving on to the actual favorite of mine is the practical steps. Now, what can companies do in order to comply with these things? And obviously, there's a huge set of processes, but I think these three key elements sum it up quite nicely: preparing your people, preparing your technology, and preparing your processes. Maybe we should just start with preparing your people. Whoever wants to jump in at this stage, talk about what they're doing and how they're hearing from customers on enabling the stakeholders to manage this transition.
I can start. Yes, but before we prepare the people list, also that we do today is the kind of informing and planning. So that's the right start to inform about the situation. Also, Tomasz and Joris told it's important to know what is the scenery and what is today, what is tomorrow, and what is after 2028. Because there is the Vita, there is something, and the complexity will increase in this phase for sure. And you need the right partner for this. And this means also that your staff must be prepared for this. Perhaps you need a different kind of staff. They are much more technicians, but much more also process oriented. That must be the first step from my point of view.
I would agree. I think that the first group of people that you need to enable are the people that take care of your systems and your processes. They need to be aware what's coming, and they need to pick the right partners. And then you have still your AP specialists. You will still have them, because there will be a lot of things a lot of tasks in an AP process, for example, that this does not automate for you. So in the second stage, you will be enabling those people how to work with e-invoicing, how to work with the solution that solves the e-invoicing for you. But the first stage are your process and IT people. Second stage are your accounts payable people.
Not even, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but like, how would you approach the change management when it comes to your vendors and your suppliers, especially if they're not EU based. Like if they're based in, let's say, Dubai or in the US and they're dealing with a Germany company, like how would you approach that process of preparing your people in that sense?
It's important to mention that this 2025 checkpoint applies to you only if you have German entity or subsidiary. Okay, so if you have German entity and subsidiary, you most probably have people in Germany that are responsible for some basic accounting and finance operations. But I will probably hand it over to Joris and Richard to explore this further. But it applies to you if you have German subsidiary or an entity.
Yeah, but even in my when I was still a finance manager in a German context, I had companies that were not inside the German borders, but were still reporting under a German entity. And so yes, you have to deal with that. It's all about making awareness. Is obviously, when it comes to preparing people, is the most important part, and it's not only your finance people, but obviously also the people on the sales and procurement side of your business, and that will start basically reviewing your current setup and situation, and the nice thing obviously about many let's say accounts payable and accounts receivable are the blood of any company. So most of the times these processes are pretty well documented within companies, at least documented enough for us to get started and make the right choices for the current and the future situation. And and then it's basically a question of making sure that you are well prepared and that you have the right technology. I often see, and I concur with what Richard just earlier mentioned, is we see the automation rates with new technology going up and up. So where automation rates were below 50s in earlier stages, we now see that the automation rates will go way beyond 50%. 80% or something like that of invoice streams. So and also it might also mean that some of these people in accounts receivable and accounts payable will be doing other stuff because you're freeing up their time, and it is also part of the business case to look into it. But you'll notice that in any implementation, people are very happy to not be confronted anymore with the repetitive part of their jobs, but are basically focusing on the difficult parts, and where put people in a situation where they can play to their strengths, and rather than just being a machine repeating themselves over and over again. When it comes to timing, like I said, 1st of January is just around the corner. It is still doable to do a full process and reviewing and make sure that you are prepared. But the clock is ticking, and you're not the only one that is looking at the situation at this stage. So also the number of resources available to help you to make the change before, and to make sure that you're ready before January 1st, they will become the pool of is becoming increasingly smaller because a lot of people are now looking at it. So rather start earlier than later, because otherwise you will be too late to meet the 1st of January when it comes to these type of requirements.
That's
wonderful, and
that's right. Joris, this is only some months, and if you see our members on the VR, they are fully booked for the moment, because it's very close to these things, and this is a normal behavior of the humans to start very late. But at the end, it makes a little bit, it makes problems in the process for sure.
We hope that this webinar will accelerate things for people. But moving on to like preparing your technology, and I want to hear from Thomas specifically, like what can businesses do nowadays to kind of revamp their tech, and like what would be the elements that they need to review and assess as they go closer to Jan 1st?
So look, it's clear that you need a partner for this, because if you are a global company, the problem that ahead of you is that it's not just about Germany, right? Like there will be different approaches in different European countries, and the step will be gradual, step by step. That means that there will be phase where you will have very mixed type of invoice traffic. Some of that will probably already in January start coming in a new, not new, but the required German formats. But all traffic outside of Germany will come in PDFs, and big portion of German traffic will still come as a paper or PDF, right? And this will get just more and more complex because other countries will start rolling it out in those phased regime, like, in multiple phases as well. So there will be actually more formats and more, it will be quite heterogeneous traffic that you are, that you need to expect. But what you still want to keep your business rules, your approval workflows, your the workflow of the whole transaction unified and as easy as possible. So you need to look at the vendors that are able to solve the heterogeneous problem for you while keeping your workflows unified and as easy to maintain, maintainable as possible. So that's so you need to start looking for your partner on the tech side, but also on the implementation side.
Yes, for sure. That's the most important thing, to select the right partner, because this is not only a national discussion we have. Especially in Germany, you have a lot of companies that are working abroad and all over the world. That means you need a right partner, and also the right partner. And in the next years, I told, the complexity will increase. And so you need a potent partner for a long-term partnership, and because that is the most important thing to do this, and you should do it now. And that's, if you have the partner now, you have to check if the partner is able to fulfill these long-term needs for the long run. That's the most important thing. And this is not only a technical thing, and it's all the departments. There is the financial department, there is the sales department. All the departments are involved normally, and this partner should have to also to organize this process between. And this is much more, that's important, and they need a lot of experience.
I think we also covered the processes side of things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move to the Q&A side. We have received plenty of questions, and I'm sure our experts here have plenty of answers. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the presentation. We have a question actually first from Katalin Krishan. I believe we already answered it, but will it be one e-invoicing format across all EU countries?
I try to answer. We are also in discussions with the China organization, with the European Commission. At the end, that's theory, and that's the future, the bright future. That's the intention of these things. And at the end, I don't know when we will reach this goal, but it will take a long time period, because you need these 27, and also Joris told you these things with Estonia and so on. There is also some problems in this future, but at the end they will come closer and closer and start with interoperability. At the end they have to have harmonization, but I don't know if it's 2030, 2035, 2040, 2045. We will see.
I agree. I agree that eventually it will be there, but to be very honest, technically that is possible, but changing people is very, very difficult. And I think we said the same thing about EDI 20, 30 years ago, that there will be one EDI standard, and it never materialized. So I think we need to be prepared that there's going to be a long time where there are differences from country to country.
I will come with probably unorthodox answer to this. and hold me accountable 5 years from now. I do believe that we might arrive to a time where this will not be even a question, in a sense, like we will not need it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the computer's capability and its improvements in understanding the non-structured layouts, right? Like the typical PDFs. The computers will so quickly grab the ability to understand all the different formats across the EU, that there is a non-zero probability that this need will not exist anymore. And we will simply not care whether we have 27 or 30 or 50 or 100 formats, because computers will be so strong in this translation step that you simply will not care. And because if this happens, if computers get this capability, and I believe they'll do, the need will disappear, and we will just skip the headache, and the question will be obsolete. And I give this like really non-zero probability.
No, I agree. I think this is going to be the case, and actually, it's also like asking everybody in Europe to speak one language. And I'm not sure which language that's going to be, but I think the technology is prepared to deal with the diversity that we have across Europe or even across the globe. When it comes to different ways of writing, different directions of writing, and the like.
We have a bit of a technical question, and I think Tomasz can answer it, specifically about the structure of invoices and the embedding of XML files into PDFs. Does Rossum support both variations? Furthermore, Zugferd is available in various versions and as basic, extended, etc., up to custom individual structures. How does Rossum deal with these variations?
Yes, we support both of the file formats in multiple modes of the complexity. There is also the custom part of the format that needs to be always agreed between the sender and the receiver. And in that moment, we as a software vendor provide easy way how to configure it so that you can adjust that based on your relationship with the sender. So the answer is we as a software vendor need to provide a solution to all of those sub problems.
Yeah, maybe to add to that, this is why I was also so eager to ask companies to look at their setups. A lot of the issues that we had with invoicing before were solved with building templates for individual vendors. And this is where the big difference is. All these templates that we build for suppliers and the like are very difficult to maintain over time. And this is why companies should look at new technology to basically get rid of that burden of maintaining templates over time. And this is where the new technologies really help to resolve. Because they learn faster, but also they don't have the burden of maintaining templates. So if you still have technology that works with templates, please get rid of it as soon as possible, because this is really not necessary anymore.
Wonderful. We have one more question, more on the technical side also. What does the Rossum, I'm assuming e-invoicing plugin, do exactly? We use Rossum for XML processing in other countries already without any plugin. So I wonder how the plugin can ease German setup.
Yeah, so what you are probably using is an earlier version of this plugin that already supports XML processing. What we are now doing is there is some underlying technology behind that allows you to read XMLs, but we make it basically specific country-specific versions of it, so that it's easy for our customers to turn on capability to receive file formats for different countries, right? We don't want our customers to spend weeks setting up some specific and custom XML processing. How I imagine our service to our customers is, hey, I need Germany on January 1st, and we would be just turned on, done. We really want to make it easy for our customers. So that's why we are packaging it country by country, So you just come to us and you say, I need Italy, I need Germany, I need Poland. We turn it on, and suddenly in your Rossum workflow, where you typically process the PDF invoices, typically specifically routed by country, you can read the e-invoicing per country. So it's a different variation of the same technology, created specifically for per country requirements.
And one last question from Sven, Ole Grossklaus, receiving invoices. Do you support PEPL network connection for receiving, or just mail/API?
It's a news that we are actually publishing today as well. Rossum is newly PEPL certified, so Rossum has become a PEPL certified endpoint, and we will be rolling out PEPL support into the platform in the next weeks and months. So the answer is yes. And I think it's important to mention, and Richard, please tell me if I'm correct, that PEPL is an accepted exchange protocol for the German for the new German regulation as well.
Yes, it is. It will be also BIS billing 3.0 in Germany. It's accepted. It will be in the next letter of the Ministry of Finance that will be included also this format. Yes, for sure. Yes, and all over also in the future, PEPL will play a role in Germany. Perhaps not the only, but it will play a role in the environment for sure.
Great. And before we wrap things up, I want to turn to the speakers and ask, what is the one key takeaway that you want our attendees to come out with today? I'll start with maybe Joris.
Get started as soon as possible, because like I said, there are many other companies that are also doing the same thing, and yeah, you need to make sure that you have the right resources available to you if you still want to make a change before January 1st.
Richard?
Yes, I can support this message. You have to start now. And also what is important, that the effort you require to this implementation will be less than expected. We have some studies, and we see this from different other countries. The effort will be less than expected in the normal way. Go to your provider, go to your partner, and start. It makes much more sense to start now, and you will see you will benefit a lot.
And lastly, Thomas.
I also agree. Get started, but also look into the future and be ready for heterogeneous traffic. There will be PDFs. There will still be paper. There will be invoices, and it will be all different in different countries. So you need to be ready for global scale and global variability.
And hopefully we will have then a template-free future, Thomas.
Yeah, and never build any template again.
Wonderful. So I guess the message of today is start today before it's too late. There's still some time. Talk to your partner, talk to your people, prepare your technology and your processes and your people. I want to take the time to thank our speakers, our attendees, and everyone who was involved in preparing this webinar. If you have any questions or concerns, or you'd like to discuss more about e-invoicing, feel free to reach out to Rossum, and we'd be happy to answer you. Again, I want to thank the speakers for joining us today. Joris Jutman, partner at KPMG Netherlands, Richard Luthard, board member at Zugferd and E-Rechnung, and our CEO, Thomas Gogar. Thank you. I'm going to end the webinar today, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.